So hello everybody, welcome back to our CMA classes. So yes, let's continue our remaining portion part of the Banking Regulation Act 1949. So we were in this topic of minimum capital and reserve maintenance by the banking company, and we had now an idea of how much the amount or reserve, the paid up capital or the reserve is to be maintained by banking company. Okay, so yes, now we are going for the provision of this section 11 is about the minimum paid up capital and reserve requirement. So as we know, in case of banking company incorporated outside India, okay, so what was the minimum paid up capital and the reserve? Think before I'm going to say it. So yes, the aggregate value of its paid up capital and the reserve shall not be less than 15 lakh of rupees. Okay, in case of if the banking company is incorporated outside India, in that case the paid up share capital plus reserve should not be less than rupees 15 lakh. है ना, हाँ जी. But if it has a place of business in the city of Bombay or Calcutta, in case of Bombay or Calcutta, right, Bombay and Calcutta, okay, or both, in that case what is going to be the minimum paid up share capital plus reserve which is to be maintained by banking company? 20 lakh. इतना तो मुझे याद है बहुत अच्छे से, right? Yes. So hope so this part is clear ना जी. So let's go for the second part. The banking company shall deposit and keep deposited with RBI either in cash or in form of unencumbered, which is the free of debt or other financial liability in form of these. ठीक है? So either in form of cash or in unencumbered approved securities, let's say, ठीक है, either in form of cash, securities, or partly in cash, partly in form of any other security, any such securities, ठीक है, or cash, security, or partly in cash or security. So let's say some portion is to be deposited with RBI. Okay, the portion which is in form of cash or security or partly in cash or security, ठीक है, which is to be deposited with whom? With the RBI of India, ठीक है, RBI. Okay, so further it says an amount which shall not be less than the minimum required by clause A, and second says as soon as may be after the expiry of 2 years, an amount calculated at the 20% of profit for the year in respect of all business transacted through its branches in India which is to be disclosed in P&L account, which is to be prepared with reference to that year. Okay, they are saying after 2 years of expiry of this term, okay, they have to show the 20% to the P&L account, which is to be disclosed in the P&L account. Okay, okay. So further they are saying provided that any such banking company may at any time replace any security so deposit by cash or by other unencumbered approved securities or partly by cash or partly by securities. However, that total amount deposit is not affected. Simple चीज़ है, ठीक है, they can change the amount or not, ठीक है, or any cash so deposit by unencumbered approved security of the equal value. Okay, further they are saying the central government may on the recommendation of Reserve Bank and having the regard to adequacy of amount already deposit and kept deposit by the banking company under subsection 2 in relation to deposit liability in India declared by order in writing that the provision of sub clause 2nd of clause B of subsection 2 shall not apply to such banking company. So in short, let me say what we have to remind, right? We have to keep this part is important. As I say, paid up share capital reserve is to be maintained by a banking company minimum, ठीक है, we are talking about the minimum which is 15 lakh, and if they are having any place of effective in business in case of two state ना, कौन सा वाला स्टेट? बॉम्बे एंड कलकत्ता, in that case 20 lakh, ठीक है, first part, ठीक है. So apart from that, the banking company have to keep some deposit of cash or security or partly in cash or security, ठीक है. Then what was that 20% is to be maintained, this is to be disclosed in P&L account, okay, after expiry of this year, ठीक है, बस we have to keep this in mind, ठीक है. So yes, so let's go for the second part. Okay, earlier we talked about if the company is incorporated outside India. Okay, so let's go for the second part. Let me take the other pen, other color. In case of the banking company to which the provision of subsection 2 do not apply, the aggregate value of its paid up capital and the reserve shall not be less than, okay, if it has place of business in more than one state. If it has place of business more than one state, in that case what was the minimum limit? 5 lakh. Very good. Okay. And if any such place or places of business is or situated more in case of city of Bombay or Kolkata, in that case what is going to be the paid up share capital? 10, right, plus reserve. Okay. So in this case, first thing we have to read it. Pehle wala was incorporated outside India, and they are saying in the case of, यहाँ से, in the case of any banking company to with the provision of subsection 2 do not apply. ठीक है. सो ये कौन सा वाला पार्ट हुआ? लेट मी गो टू द चार्ट. ठीक है, एज दे आर सेइंग ये वाला पार्ट है ना, ये वाला पार्ट. ठीक है, दे आर सेइंग इन केस ऑफ बैंकिंग कंपनी इंकॉर्पोरेटेड इन इंडिया. ओके, सो डोंट गेट कंफ्यूज हियर. ठीक है, सो एटलीस्ट the paid up share capital, the minimum requirement to maintain the paid up share capital plus reserve is to be कितना? 5 लाख जनाब, 5 लाख. ठीक है, let me write it. Paid up share capital plus reserve is to be maintained by कितना? 5 lakh. But in case of Bombay and Kolkata it's going to be कितना? 10 lakh जनाब. ठीक है, in case of Bombay and Kolkata मेरी जान जी. ठीक है, okay. Okay, let's go for the second part. If it has all its place of business, ठीक है, in one state, none of which is situated in the city of Bombay or Kolkata. If it's all of its business is in one state, or let's take that they are also in other state but not in case of Bombay or Kolkata, not in state of Bombay or Kolkata. ठीक है, in that case 1 lakh rupee in respect of his principal place of business, 1 lakh rupees. ठीक है जी, ये वाला कौन सा केस है? व्हेन दे आर नॉट हैविंग एनी ऑफ बिजनेस. ठीक है, फर्स्ट दे आर हैविंग अ प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेस इन वन स्टेट बट नन ऑफ विच इज सिचुएटेड इन कौन सा वाला सिटी? बॉम्बे एंड कलकत्ता. ठीक है, सो इन दिस केस व्हाट इज गोइंग टू बी द मिनिमम पेड अप शेयर कैपिटल प्लस रिजर्व विच इज टू बी मेंटेन कितना? 1 लाख. ओके जी, ओके, plus 10,000 rupees in respect of each of its other place of business situated in the same district. So with this rupees 10,000 is to be maintained in respect of each of its other place of business situated in the same district. Okay, in which it has a principal place of business. And there is one more thing they are saying, plus 25,000 rupees in respect of each place of business situated elsewhere in state otherwise than in a same state. Okay, first of all 1 lakh, I know what are they saying. ठीक है, if they are having the place of business, they are talking about the incorporated in India वाला part. They were two thing ना, they were two cases. ठीक है, first वाला case what they say 5 lakh and 10 lakh. ठीक है, याद है ना? Okay, now this वाला part they are saying कि जनाब if it has a place of business, in one state and none of it is situated in the city of कौन सा? Bombay and कौन सा? Kolkata. ठीक है, तो in that case they have to minimum maintain the paid up share capital plus reserve by कितना? 1 lakh. ठीक है, okay, and with that plus 10,000 rupees in respect of each of its other place of business situated in same district. With that, if the place of business is situated in the same district, in that case what is the amount which they have for the additional place of business? 10,000. ठीक है, so 10,000 is for if the place of business is in the same district. ठीक है, let me write it here ना, district. ठीक है जी, हाँ, ओके, इतनी बात समझ में आ गई. Second, they are also saying one more thing. Let me take the other pen. Okay, so they are saying plus 25,000 rupees in respect of each place of business situated elsewhere in state otherwise in the same district. So if the place of business is in the different district, not in the same district, ठीक है, same district ले कितना था? 10,000 additionally with that 1 lakh, with this 1 lakh. ठीक है जी, but if they are having the place of business in other district, in that case कितना? 25,000. ये एडिशनल चीज़ था जो कि चार्ट में नहीं था यहाँ पे, है ना? तो दिस वी हैव टू यहाँ पे. ओके जी, चलो, सो व्हाट आर दे सेइंग? अपने को समझ में आ गया, राइट? if it has place of business in one state but not situated in कौन सा वाला, Bombay and Calcutta, in that case 1 lakh is to be maintained by the banking company. What? Minimum paid up share capital and reserve. ठीक है जी, हाँ जी. With that, if the place of business is in the same district, the other place of business or banking companies having in the same district, in that case additional 10,000, ठीक है, for the place of business, ठीक है. But if it is not in same district, 25,000 additionally, ठीक है ना. इतना याद है ना, MCQ वाला पार्ट हो सकता है जनाब, ठीक है. Provided that no banking company to which the clause applies shall be required to have paid up share capital reserve exceeding an aggregate value of 5 lakh of rupees. Provided further that no banking company to which this clause applies and this has only one place of business shall be required to have paid up share capital and reserve exceeding an aggregate value of 50,000. Okay, so provided further that in case of every banking company to which this clause applies and which commence banking business for the first time after commencement of Banking Companies Act, the value of paid up share capital shall not be less than 5 lakh. If it is, the banking company is commenced for the very first time after commencement of Banking Regulation Act, ठीक है, Banking Companies Act वाला, ठीक है. In that case the paid up share capital should not be less than 5 lakh, they are saying, ठीक है. बहुत पहले वाली बात है ये, ठीक है. Then third point say if it has place of business in one state, ठीक है, in one or more of which or are situated in city of Bombay or Calcutta, ठीक है. So they have a place of business either in one state, ठीक है, or more state. Let's say it more state, ठीक है. And they are situated कहाँ पे? They are situated in the Bombay or Calcutta, ठीक है जी, हाँ जी. In that case what is going to the minimum paid up share capital and reserve? 5 लाख जनाब, ठीक है, 5 लाख. इतनी बात समझ में आ गई. So hope so you're not getting confused, ठीक है. So yes, okay जी, ठीक है. Second, with this 25,000 rupees in respect of each place of business situated outside the city of Bombay and Calcutta, ठीक है. So here the limit is going to be 25,000. Same वाला limit है ना, यहाँ वाला भी limit, यहाँ वाला भी limit. If they were not in the place of business is in different district, in earlier case we read that, ठीक है. But in this case what are they saying? If that place of business is in other than the place of कौन सा city of कौन सा Bombay and Calcutta जी, है ना. तो in this case we have to maintain this minimum paid up share capital, that is of 25,000, ठीक है ना. Hope so this point is clear ना. So yes, let me do a very quick revision now, वरना सब कुछ भूल जाएंगे. First thing, minimum paid up share capital and reserve is to be maintained by every banking company. What if the company is incorporated outside India, है ना. Yes, in that case the minimum paid up share capital, because आउटसाइड इंडिया भैया थोड़ा तो वेटेज बढ़ाओ ना, 15 लाख, ठीक है. बट इफ दे आर हैविंग प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेस इन बॉम्बे एंड कलकत्ता, incorporated outside India, with that they are having any place of business in Bombay and Calcutta, in that case it's going to be 20 lakh, ठीक है. इतनी बात समझ है. With that they have to keep bank the cash plus security which is to be deposited with RBI. With that either they can do it by the partly in cash or securities. ये भी बात समझ में आ गई ना, ठीक है. Second thing, the banking company is incorporated in India. First part वहीं खत्म. Let's go for the second part. Second part is further divided here, ठीक है. So first case, if the place of business is more than one state, if it is more than in one state, it's going to be 5 lakh rupees, ठीक है. But not in कौन सा Bombay and Calcutta. But if they are having that the place of business in Bombay and Calcutta, it's going to be 10 lakh, ठीक है. Earlier 15, then 25, 10, ठीक है जी. Now let's say it has all its place of business in only one state, ठीक है. In that case what is going to be this 1 lakh, but not but कौन सा वाला नहीं लेंगे, बॉम्बे एंड कलकत्ता, ठीक है. नन ऑफ विच इज सिचुएटेड, दे आर नॉट गोइंग टू टेक द प्लेस बॉम्बे एंड कलकत्ता है, ठीक है. होप सो यू गेटिंग माई पॉइंट ना. सो येस, इट्स गोइंग टू बी मिनिमम कितना 1 lakh प्लस 10,000 एडिशनल फॉर द place of business which is in the same district other than Bombay and Calcutta, I told you, ठीक है. But if they are not in the same district, in that case what is going to be minimum paid up share capital and the reserve amount 25,000 rupees, ठीक है जी, हाँ जी. Third says the place of business is in one state. कौन सा वाला state? One or more, ठीक है. And that is situated in the city of Bombay and Calcutta जनाब. Earlier they didn't take Bombay and Calcutta ना, तो वो नाराज़ हो गए. That's why Bombay and Calcutta ने कहा हमें अलग दीजिए, ठीक है, हम भी राज करेंगे इसलिए. So यहाँ पे what they are saying, if they are having place of business in Bombay and Calcutta, ठीक है, either in one state, one or more state, ठीक है. So what is going to be the minimum paid up share capital जनाब? It's going to be 5 lakh, ठीक है. This part is same, ठीक है जी, ये वाला part, okay. As earlier second वाला part was of 10 lakh because that was of Bombay and Calcutta, ठीक है. So now it's specifically for Bombay and Calcutta, it's going to be 5 lakh. But if there is 25,000 rupees in respect of for each of the business which is situated outside the city of Bombay and Calcutta, ठीक है. तो this is similar to ये वाला part, ठीक है जी. So yes, hope so you get my point. This was all written in this section 11, which is of minimum paid up capital and reserve requirement which is to be maintained by the banking company. इतना easy था ना भैया, बहुत easy है. चलो आगे चलते हैं अपन. Okay, this is limiting the payment of dividend. Okay, now they are saying that every banking company is prohibited from paying any dividend, ठीक है. They cannot pay dividend. First of all, they have to completely write off the capital expenditure, ठीक है. So they are saying if the banking company want to give the dividend, in that case they have to completely write off the capital expenditure. Now we know what is the capital expenditure, preliminary expenses, याद है ना. So yes, let's read a little bit about what I have written. Every banking company prohibits from paying any dividend on its share. Let me take a different pen now. Any dividend on its share unless it has completely written off the capital expenditure such as preliminary expenses, brokerage, commission on issue of shares, and which is to be which have been completely written off. Until and unless they are completely written off, the capital expenditure are completely written off, they cannot go for paying the dividend, ठीक है. Okay, so but there are some exceptions, ठीक है. As I say, exception always do exist. So yes, there are some of the exception in this section, ठीक है. So this section 15 says the limiting the payment of dividend, ठीक है. No company shall pay any dividend on its share until all its capitalized expenses including preliminary expenses, organization expenses, share selling commission, brokerage, amount of losses incurred and any other item of expenditure not represented by tangible asset have been completely written off. So first of all, ठीक है, what they have to do, the banking company have to write off all the capital expenditure जनाब, otherwise they cannot pay the dividend, ठीक है जी. इतना समझ में आ गया ना. Yes, restriction as to the payment of dividend, notwithstanding any of the contrary contained in the subsection 1 of its Companies Act 1956, a banking company may pay dividend on a share without writing off. So there are some exception, and the exception says there are 4 exceptions, ठीक है. First, the depreciation, if any, in the value of its investment in approved security in case where such depreciation has not actually been capitalized or otherwise accounted for as a loss. This is going to be the very first exception. Second is also little bit similar, ठीक है. I cannot say the full thing, ठीक है. Second says the depreciation, if any, in the value of its investment in share, debenture or bonds other than the approved securities in any case where adequate provision for such depreciation has been made to the satisfaction of the auditor of the banking company. Third, the bad debt, if any, in any case where the adequate provision for such debt has been made to the satisfaction of the auditor of the banking company. And then the last, banks paid dividend after taking specific approval from the Reserve Bank of India. In this case, they can pay the dividend. ठीक है. So there are 4 exceptions, we have to just keep them in our mind, ठीक है. Main thing, they cannot write off मतलब they cannot pay the dividend unless they have completely written off the capital expenditure, and we know what is the capital expenditure, ठीक है. So let's go for the section 19. As we have already covered section 17, सेक्शन 18, ठीक है. ओके, सो डोंट गेट कंफ्यूजन हियर, ठीक है. सो लेट्स गो फॉर द सेक्शन 19. There is some restriction on the nature of subsidiary company, and that is the restriction on nature of the subsidiary company, but there is some exception. Except a subsidiary company formed for one or more by this, by undertaking of a company. If the subsidiary company is forming by this, ठीक है, by undertaking of the business, in that case there is no restriction, ठीक है. or carry on business, banking business which is outside India, in that case, but they have to take the special permission from RBI, which is in written permission is to be taken by whom? जनाब RBI. और किससे लेंगे, है ना. but they third organization also, and they are saying if they undertaken of other business, ठीक है, where the approval of CG is to be taken in case of public interest. So there are three cases, the exception that the restriction is not going to be prevail on the subsidiary company in these three cases. undertaking of business, ठीक है जी, carrying of business of कौन सा, outside India जनाब, ठीक है, but for that they have to take the special permission from RBI in writing, ठीक है. third, undertaking of business, in that case किससे परमिशन लेना था? सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट, ठीक है, बट दैट वाज इन द फेवर ऑफ पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट जनाब, ठीक है. होप सो दिस पार्ट इज क्लियर. सो सेक्शन 19 सेज द रिस्ट्रिक्शन ऑन द नेचर ऑफ द सब्सिडरी कंपनी. अ बैंकिंग कंपनी शैल नॉट फॉर्म एनी सब्सिडरी कंपनी except a subsidiary company formed one or more of the following purposes, namely the undertaking of any business in which under clause A to O of subsection 1 of 6 is permissible for the banking company to undertake. undertaking of business, ठीक है नहीं, बैंकिंग कंपनी, इतनी बात समझ में. सेकेंड, विथ द प्रीवियस परमिशन इन राइटिंग ऑफ RBI, ठीक है जी, हाँ, द बैंकिंग टू कैरी ऑन द बिजनेस ऑफ बैंकिंग एक्सक्लूसिवली आउटसाइड इंडिया, ठीक है जी, ठीक है. द अंडरटेकिंग ऑफ सच अदर बिजनेस विच द रिजर्व बैंक में विथ प्रायर अप्रूवल ऑफ सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट कंसीडर टू कंडक्टिव टू स्प्रेड ऑफ बैंकिंग इन इंडिया और टू अदरवाइज यूजफुल और नेसेसरी इन द पब्लिक इंटरेस्ट, ठीक है. सो दे आर थ्री एक्सेप्शन. अपार्ट फ्रॉम these they cannot go, I mean form the subsidiary company. हो, समझ में आ गया ना, it was easy busy, ठीक है. let's go for section 20 which says the restriction on loan and advances. This is somehow related to director वाला chapter, ठीक है. we know something, ठीक है, कि they cannot grant loan to either directors, employees, ये ठीक है. so we can easily connect, ठीक है. so section 20 is all about the restriction on loan and advances. No banking company shall grant any loan or advances on the security of its own share, right? This was also applicable to company ना, है ना, हाँ जी. Second, enter into any commitment for granting any loan or advances to or on behalf of whom? First, director. Second, firm in which any of its director is interested as partner. Now we know the meaning of interest. I am not going to tell you in this section, ठीक है, in this lecture, ठीक है. so yes, first was of director, second was of firm in which any of its director is interested as partner, manager, employee, guarantee. कुछ तो याद आ रहा है जनाब, कुछ तो दया याद करो, कुछ तो है, कुछ तो गड़बड़ा याद आया है ना, वो डायरेक्टर वाला चैप्टर, लोन वाला है ना, हाँ जी. सो फर्स्ट, डायरेक्टर, any firm in which any of its director is interested as a partner, manager, let me write PMEG, ठीक है जी. if its director is interested as, ठीक है जी, as, ठीक है. so they are talking about whom? the firm. थोड़ा सा मिटा दूँ यहाँ, ये लीजिए, ठीक है, ओके जी. so in the firm they cannot give the guarantee, advances or loan to the director first, to a firm in which the director is interested to the partner, manager, employee and whom? the guarantor, PMEG, ठीक है जी. शॉर्ट में याद कर लेते हैं. थर्ड, any company not being a subsidiary company, subsidiary of a banking company or a company registered under section 25 of the Companies Act 1956 or a government company on which or the subsidiary or the holding company of which any of the director of the banking company, director, manager, agent, manager, employee or guarantor in which whole subsidiary interest. so in short, can I say any company, ठीक है, they are not going to take the subsidiary company, ठीक है, some subsidiary of the banking company, ठीक है, or the subsidiary of the holding company, ठीक है जी. so yes, or any company. first वाला कौन सा था? director. second वाला कौन सा था? firm, ठीक है. in firm the director is interested, M PMEG, ठीक है. सेकेंड थर्ड वाला टू दी कंपनी, लेट मी राइट इट, कंफ्यूजन नहीं होना चाहिए अपने को, बाकी सब कुछ हो जाना चाहिए, ठीक है. हाँ जी. सो येस, द डायरेक्टर ऑफ द बैंकिंग कंपनी कुड बी डायरेक्टर, मैनेजर, लेट मी राइट, डायरेक्टर, मैनेजर, एजेंट, ठीक है, मैनेजर, यहाँ पे कॉमा है, ठीक है, मैनेजर, एम्प्लॉय एंड गारंटर, ठीक है, बस और कुछ नहीं है, ठीक है. इट्स इजी. और एनी इंडिविजुअल इन रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ वूम एनी ऑफ इट्स डायरेक्टर इज पार्टनर और गारंटर. So yes, this is somehow connected to director वाला chapter. We know this section है ना, somehow we know this section, ठीक है. Okay जी, ठीक है. Hope so this part is clear. So the banking company cannot grant the loan or advances to the, ठीक है, specified people, ठीक है. With that, one more thing, to on the security on its own share, ठीक है. Even in this case also they cannot go for, there is a restriction on loan and advances, ठीक है. Okay, this we know. The power of RBI to issue guidelines under section 21. अच्छा मुझे बताओ, we have already somewhere read about the power of RBI. There was some another chapter है ना, one big chapter was there which was of RBI, ठीक है. So you can easily connect it. In this section they are going to say that some of the margin is to be maintained, ठीक है, how much amount is to be given, I mean the loan amount, or what is going to be the interest rate, ठीक है. So there are some restriction, or you can say the guidelines which is to be followed by the every banking company, ठीक है, and which is to be given by whom? This guidelines is given by the RBI. If these things are not followed by the banking company, then definitely the RBI is going to take the action ना. बहुत easy है जनाब, सब easy, बहुत easy है. So yes, section 21 says about the power of RBI to issue direction under section 21. Section 21 of Act allow RBI to control loan and advances extended by banking company, ठीक है. RBI may issue the direction in respect of following item to the banking companies, and every banking company has to necessarily comply with its directions. इतनी बात समझ में आ गई? Yes. So the directions are, number first, they have to specify the purpose for the advance may or may not be made, ठीक है. Second, the margin to be maintained in respect of the secured advances. Third, the maximum amount of advances that can be made to the particular company, association of a person or individual having regard to the paid up capital reserve deposit of the banking company. Then the maximum amount of guarantee that can be made by the banking on behalf of the particular company, firm, association of a person or individual having regard to the paid up share capital reserve and deposit of the company. Then the rate of interest or any other term condition of advances may be made or guarantee may be given, ठीक है. These are simple thing which is to be, these are the directions which is to be followed by every banking company, ठीक है. So this is all about the licensing of the banking company. Let me do this section in the another section, another lecture, ठीक है, वरना lecture बहुत बड़ा हो जाएगा है ना, और मुझे editing करने में बहुत दिक्कत हो जाएगी. So yes, so we are going to end this lecture now and we'll continue in our next lecture, ठीक है. So yes, what we have covered, जल्दी quick revision कर लेते हैं ना. सबसे main was this, the minimum paid up share capital, है ना. This was of कौन सा section? Section 11, ठीक है. Section 11 says of the minimum paid up capital. There was two part. First, incorporate outside India, in the India. Now you have to याद करो सब कुछ, ठीक है जी. ओके जी. देन इट वॉज ऑफ सेक्शन 17 वी ऑलरेडी रेड, एंड 18 विच इज द रिजर्व फंड एंड द कैश रिजर्व इज टू बी मेंटेन बाय बैंकिंग कंपनी, ठीक है. लिमिटिंग ऑन द पेमेंट ऑफ डिविडेंड, वी नो until unless they have completely written off the capital expenditure they cannot pay the dividend, but there are some 4 exception, ठीक है जी. ओके जी. देन 19 which was of restriction on the nature of subsidiary company, ठीक है. एंड 20 and 21 restriction on advances, ठीक है, 2 पार्ट, ठीक है, A और B, ठीक है. एंड द पावर ऑफ द RBI which is to be on the issue of under loans and advances, section 21, ठीक है जी. So that's it in this lecture. We'll meet in our next video. तब तक पढ़ते रहो guys, खुश रहो, मस्त रहो. This is Omni Santosh, Toodles.